What we're designing today are media pull tabs for kind of an interactive digital magazine using Adobe InDesign CS6 and their digital publishing tools. The end result here is a tab that a iPad user can pull out and listen to audio, or the picture will also act as play pause, or a video to play full screen that the user can interact with as well. So let's dive in. Go ahead and open and create a new document. Intent digital publishing. We're working with the iPad today in a landscape mode. So click OK. So we have a blank slate. What you're going to want to do first is have some kind of a tab designed already. I have one. You can do that in Photoshop or in InDesign and just kind of create an object out of it. I have a nice simple one. Gray can be any color depending on your color scheme with listen as kind of the key that something is there to interact with. Next I'm going to go ahead and place my audio file. My audio file is an MP3 because that's how iPads really like to interact with audio, is in the MP3 format. And so essentially what I have here is just a box, and if I click it or interact with it, it will play audio. What we're going to go ahead and do now is kind of change some of the settings. If you aren't already in the digital publishing workspace, go ahead and go there now. That way we get our digital publishing tools over here on the side. So click your audio and come up here to media. You can play the media essentially here just to make sure you have it right. We're going to click play on page load, which essentially says that when the user pulls this tab over from the side, that audio will automatically play. We're also going to say stop on page turn. So if the user goes to another article, then it will also stop. Poster is what the user sees in the iPad. So I already have a poster chosen. You can click standard and that just shows that audio. Or I have kind of a square image down here that I'm going to use. So I'm going to pull that over, bring it into my workspace here. I'm going to set how big I want this. Not that big. I'm going to go ahead and edit my frame and the image inside the frame. With audio, it's kind of complicated because you have the audio overlay when you click on it. When you click on it again or double click on it, you have the actual image box, and then when you click 3 times you have the image underneath it. So it can take a little bit of finesse to work with, but be patient. What I'm going to go ahead and do next is add in a cut line so that the audience knows what we're listening to. Go to OK. I'm going to go ahead and maybe add some formatting, make the author's name bold. I'm going to change my type to white and bring it into my article, or my tab, I suppose, and size it down. Okay, it's always a good idea to also have some kind of instruction to your end user with kind of saying exactly what they should do with this they have here. So I'm going to say tap to play or pause audio. Simple, to the point. I'm also going to size it down and align it how I want it. Okay, what we're going to go ahead and do here is group this pull tab and move it to where I want it in the page. What's important here is that the listen needs to fall somewhere in between the actual margin of the document and the absolute edge. So usually somewhere right in the middle works well, and that way you see the listen without actually seeing any of the other content. What we're going to do next is note that this is 422 pixels wide and 122 pixels tall. Write that down, because next we are going to come over here and select our frame tool, and we are going to make a frame that is 442 pixels wide and 122 pixels tall, or whatever size your tab ends up being. We're going to drag it and align it with our group, and the edge of this frame is going to be the edge of the page itself. What we do next, click on the group, right click, say cut, click on our box, our frame tool, and click paste into. That is the important command, paste into. So this essentially gives us a frame that can be scrolling. So next what we're going to do is come over to Folio Overlays, click Scrollable Frame. Scroll direction is going to be horizontal. We're going to go ahead and hide scroll indicators, just because that gives it a better look and feel, in my opinion. And that essentially keeps the scroll bar from not being there. And for initial content position, we're going to use the document position. If we selected upper left, whatever's in this frame is actually going to start up here. So I'm affirming that yes, I want this to start right here, and that is where the user will see it until they interact with it. So let's go ahead and save this before we preview it. Go to Folio Overlays, Folio Preview, and now we can pull this out, and audio will begin playing automatically. We can also tap the image here to pause it or play it from where we left off. And the user can pull that back to interact with the rest of the content. So that is how you do a listen pull tab in Adobe InDesign CS6.